What's going on, guys? I appreciate those of you start hanging out, waiting for the stream to start. I have to say, it made my day to see George pop backstage because he had no idea I use MJF's theme music as my intro music. So for those of you watching the replay, though, make sure to hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. So when we do these live chats, you can take part right along with us. So obviously, it's a very special stream today, one that I myself never thought would be a thing. So it's great to have George on today. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot of things to cover. I'm sure you guys have quite the questions that you're going to want to ask us. So I appreciate everybody being here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up on your way in. I see we're starting to get a pretty decent crowd, quick, fast, and in a hurry. And yeah, so no further ado. Let's jump into this, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I bring to you the one, the only, the Fragrance Apprentice, George Atkinson.
What an introduction. You can hear me, right? This isn't going to fall apart with like technical problems. My goodness. Well, I got to say that it's an absolute pleasure to be here in front of all 23 of your real subscribers.
Well, that's counting you.
That is counting me.
I wanted to introduce you as number 23. It slipped my mind in the moment, actually.
Yeah. We did it. Can you believe it? We actually did it. I know.
So for those of you that didn't know, this has been 8 months in the making.
Yeah. It has. It's a crazy thing, and you know we'll get into, because I was thinking because obviously I want to do an interview with all four of us. Mm-hmm. I've got some Patreon gang in here today, which is fantastic. Hoffman Virtual Photography. I see you. He's a great member of Patreon gang. So really appreciate.
He's one of my channel members as well, so he subscribes to both of us here.
You know what's ironic? I actually probably do only have 23 members of Patreon gang. So no, we're a small group, but it's been a small build, but it's been great. Like we had a little Zoom hangout the other day whilst I was playing Simpsons Hit and Run, and we all had a chat that was really fun. But yeah, like. I've been thinking about how I start this. I mean, I want you to take the lead in a way because obviously it is your channel. But how did this start for you? Because my memory's fuzzy. How did this all come together from your point of view?
I can kind of walk through the path, but shame on me. We're starting this off totally wrong. This is a fragrance channel. What are we doing? I am wearing Signature Aurum, ladies and gentlemen. Just shipments went out today. My package was at my door. Thank you, Georgie. Shout outs to George Zaharoff.
Who paid for this live stream, actually?
Yeah, George Zaharoff paid for the live stream, or did he? So I did a quick shorts review just to give you guys a little bit before tomorrow's video. I just wanted to make sure if there was much difference in richness, which there usually is, between the lab sample, final rendition, and what's actually in the bottles. Just to give you guys a little bit, it's a very, very raw, animalistic honey, like honey dripping off of a honeycomb type of smell. Don't think 1 Million Lucky types of honey, not that synthetic super candy sweet honey. This is raw honey. It's very animalistic, and the clove adds that animalic tone that it has, kind of a honey dripping off of a cinnamon stick type of thing with some hazelnut and some almond. The coconut milk doesn't make it super creamy, but it does have a very sticky, ambery tone from the benzoin to this. People are going to love this. Is it gourmand? Sure. Is it completely a gourmand? No, it's much more of an amber resin, just as much as it is a gourmand. So George is kind of classifying it as an amber gourmand, and I think that's a pretty good classification. I think everybody's going to be very, very pleased. The 4 ounce does come with this massively thick plate on it. This is an absolute weapon. Don't drop this on your bare foot. You will break bones. So George, what are you wearing today, my friend?
We're both like being utter shills today.
Oh, we're shilling like
I'm
Dylan.
Wearing.
Oh, Jesus. George's new favorite fragrance. It's not Millesime Imperial. It's not Burlington 19.
Yeah, I'm going to end my channel reviewing this.
Right now, the trolls are on. The hornet's nest is on fire right now. It's hilarious.
Oh, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. I mean, let's just get him out of the way. You know what I mean? Fine. Absolutely fine. It's all good. It's all right. We did it a little bit for them as well. We wanted them to, have some entertainment, living in their mum's basement or whatever. No, that's stereotyping. That's cruel. But yes, this is my scent of the day. And it's actually it's, you know, like everything was, well, not everything was true. I didn't have a satirical mental breakdown in which George and Chris rescued me, or did they?
You mean that wasn't a
Um,
delusion?
no, I mean, you know what? I was thinking about this. You know what's the weirdest thing about that video?
What's that?
Technically, you're not even in it.
No, not really. I'm a figment of
No,
your imagination.
this might not even be a real live stream. You know, who can
Yeah.
you do? What can you do?
Well, it's being funded, right?
It is. My imagination was literally being funded, which was great. But yeah, Evening Mystique. I mean, that is literally part of the real story of this, because I don't want to skip sort of into it. But when George gave me, I mean, that part is real. He just gave me the 3 bottles, like when he came to see the film, and he just, hey Elizabeth, thanks for sharing on Instagram, on the Instagram story.
Yeah, I still appreciate you guys.
But he gave like me those 3 bottles, and I remember smelling them with Chris in Cafe Nero on the Royal Mile in Edinburgh, and I remember thinking, my God, Ross's is the best out of the 3.
Now,
And
we
I
had not
thought,
made up yet, guys.
no, we hadn't.
This happened.
No, I really didn't like you, and I thought, oh, geez, like, what am I going to do? And so that part of it, you know, a lot of the video is literally is borrowed from things that, you know, actually happen.
Real life events, yeah.
Yeah, but I've only grown to like this even more. So that is in my current rotation. And now that I can, like, here's been the frustrating part. I've wanted to put this in so many top 10 lists recently, and I've not been allowed to, because that would destroy.
Everybody.
We were working everyone.
Yeah.
Love the fact that MJF theme tune is your. That's fantastic.
I have the license for it. It doesn't
have the license for it. Yeah, I was going to say, how have you done that?
Yeah, I've had it for a while. Like, I just discovered it on the Creator Music, and I got the license for it, and I've just been running with it. Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's brilliant.
But yes, we're both shilling George Zaharoff today.
Yeah, there you go.
And I think that that's pretty apt with everything that we're going to be talking about anyway. I think if we weren't wearing George Zaharoff, then what would be the point?
Well, I mean, I debated on, since Burlington 1819 is such a favorite for you now.
Yeah,
I was going to wear that, and then this came in just in time. So I was like, nah, I'm going to wear this. So, because I initially had that put to the side to kind of surprise you with, because I know it's like you have an internal struggle with that Millesime Imperial right now.
That'll be like another
phenomenal.
That'll be like another 2-hour freaking drama. Millesime Imperial, but Millesime Imperial versus Burlington 1819. That'd be good.
Because me and Justin did a stream last week, and that was both we ranked our 7 favorite Raja Dove fragrances, and we both had it at number 2. And I talked to Justin tonight. I said, because I saw your video where you have the conundrum, and I said, that's hilarious.
No way.
And I told Justin, I said, I think I'm gonna wear it for our live stream. Kind of surprised. Didn't work out.
Right, then let's get on to why people have paid their ticket.
Yeah, so that's actually the prelude to how this all began, because obviously George Zaharoff's a very good friend of mine. So I heard about the trip. Hell, I talked to him while he was on the trip with you. And it was one of those things. I was actually, and I told George this, I think it's best that I say Atkinson and Zaharoff.
I just want to say to Paul, don't worry about it. He's scared because he's like, where are the candles? Don't worry. I've got those candles.
He does everywhere. Like his candles.
In fact, let me just show you, actually, there's a load of candles
over there. Yeah.
They're all there. It's fine.
He lit those up while I was there too. So the funniest thing about it was I told George Zaharoff after he had got back, like I was kind of hoping he would have forced the issue and did a video chat with me while he was with George. And it didn't happen. So it got me thinking. It was like, you know, we have all of the mutual friends. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous why this is going on in the first place, because it's a matter of opinion that someone shared that he took trust in, and he kind of ran with it, trying to be a little righteous on behalf of the community was basically what it came down to. And so I went ahead and took the first step when he was on one of Smelly's streams. And I threw a super chat out, because everybody knows Dan's not going to not pin a super chat. And, so I know that. So I said, OMG, it's the Fragrance Apprentice. Me and all 22 of my subs absolutely love you. And it made him smile and giggle a little bit and take a sip of his drink. So I was like, all right, that's an opening. So I clicked the link because his response was going to depend on if I could move further with this. And so I clicked the link and we kind of talked about a couple of things live on Dan's channel. And that it just kind of sparked from there. We ended up on the phone within the next 2 days, and it just kind of evolved beyond this. And once we started to make up Bury the Hatchet and just talk about how everything was just so ridiculous in the first place on why this was a wedge between us, his creative juices started flowing, and he came up with this idea for this video. And George was going to be going visit, and then he's like, well, it would be great if you could come because we could do this and this, and he was just the creative process really started.
Going to say no.
Yeah,
I thought there was no way.
And it doesn't sound like something that would just be feasible, right? But the idea was just so brilliant that it seemed too good to not execute and give a try.
Well, so I remember I sort of give you my version of events, and I'll try my best to kind of explain like how my mind came up with this in a way.
Yeah.
Apart from there's probably something wrong with me. There's probably some undiagnosed shit going on. But shout out also to Jamie, who's here. Jamie Eplesy, I think he just gave you $2 or something. He's another member of Patreon gang. There's probably other members of Patreon gang.
My apologies, Jamie. I didn't see it pop up. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that.
And so I think that almost this starts like way back. The seeds of this video started from like when I first met George Zaharoff, because Chris introduced me to. Chris said, "George, this guy called George Zaharoff is coming." Matt, you haven't seen the video?
I don't know how he hasn't. He's friends with both of us. And how did you not see it?
Come on, bro.
Yeah,
it's the big 40-minute chunky video. So
this is somebody that was in the middle when the wedge happened.
I know,
because this is when Matt was making content on a regular basis. Yeah.
So we when I met George, he was. I was actually, and he doesn't know this, but of course I can tell him now, but I was really suspicious of him. I was like, what does he want? And not because I'd heard of anything. I was like, why is this guy who's a fragrance creator like wanting to meet me and Chris? And I didn't understand what was going on. And then I met him and I was like, what does he want? And that was genuinely quite real. And I was like, why is this guy come all the way from here to come and down and like speak to us fragrance viewers? And then as I got to know him, I was like, oh, I think he just likes being involved with the community.
He does.
And I started to get him, and I actually realized that he's quite a soft-spoken, strong, yet very like timid kind of guy. He's like a contrast of persons. He's tall, strong, like strong personality, but then like he's a very sensitive guy. And I was like, I like this guy. I like where this is going, and he's obviously just a nice bloke all round. But I could sense that people were uncertain of like, what does this guy want? Why is he like, what's his agenda?
Yeah.
And I could understand that at first when I first met him, because I think the psychology is that like we're all here and the people who run the brands are like here. So why would somebody go from here and down like down to us? It's not a usual thing. You don't see like Tom Ford or like come and freaking hang out with us on live streams. And so I kind of get that, and I sort of had that in my back pocket for this kind of creative video. But now George is a great guy. I don't speak to him as much as you do, but I try and keep in contact with him as much as I can. And he's always asking after me. And he's asking after me. Like he's like, George, what are you doing? Like, how's Edinburgh?
He believes in you greatly. I know that. I know. Yeah.
Well, that's nice, and that we're going to get into that, because as I was editing this, am I allowed to swear on this live stream? I don't know.
Let it fly.
Right.
Say
so
fuck all you want.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I've been watching Battlestar Galactica a lot, so I could use the word frack. You'll have to watch Battlestar Galactica to.
Well, you've been talking it up a lot the last few days.
It's unbelievable. It's amazing. But
did he pay
you? I mean, I check my PayPal every day, and when it comes in, I'll let everybody know.
Yeah, be sure to post a screen grab or something.
I will post a screen grab. Although he did freaking pay me at the end of the video. He gave me $100 out of nowhere.
That was the timing was perfect.
When the guitar
right when the
dropped
credits
out.
hit.
Yeah, right when the credits out. When it actually said George Zaharoff paid for this video, he paid $100.
He paid.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That was his cue and he took it.
Don't know. It was $100 super chat for the live premiere. And he hit it right on cue. He couldn't have timed it better.
Mr. Smelly, if that happened, he would have had a heart attack and died. The stream would have continued another 3 hours. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway,
So for those of you, the reason we keep cracking jokes with Dan about this is we're having this heartfelt conversation on his stream. Guys, I want to hear all this. It's lovely, really, but real quick, super chat, $2.
Yeah, you and I are trying to have this conversation.
He's just like, guys, it's great. It's great. I'm loving this. It's bringing viewers.
And it was a big moment. It was a big moment that was happening publicly. And it was almost as if he was like saying, this reconciliation is sponsored by Super Chats. It's sponsored by you. Can you imagine Jerry Springer?
This is great. I want all of this. But hold on. So and so,
Could you imagine Jerry Springer in the middle of like a freaking white trailer trash fight happening, and then he's like, "Okay, that's really great, but here's a phone number to put in your donations." It was crazy. Shout out to Dan. Yeah, shout out to Dan. But yeah, so I didn't like you.
Indeed.
But
I know.
Here's what happened. So
every time you mentioned a cage match or something, I looked at flights to the UK to take you up.
I bet you did. Out of nowhere, people are saying to me, "Oh, well, you know about Ross, don't you?" And I'm like, "No." And people are like, "Well, he buys subscribers." And I went, "Oh yeah," and they're like, "Oh yeah, well we've got the info and we've got the screen grabs," and then I'm obviously not going to name any names or whoever, because again I don't know if they fell foul to what happened to me, and I don't want to judge. Yeah, but they were like, "Oh right, yeah, so." Look at these social blades and things like that. And to be completely honest, when I looked at the social blades and I looked at your info, I didn't really know what any of it meant. But I was just like, "Oh right, yeah,
that don't look right. Look at that spike, yeah."
And I was like, "Okay, well, I mean, like I've had videos that have popped off, but because this person is telling me, it must be true."
Yeah,
and like even saying that right now makes me feel like a complete dick. You know what I mean?
Were,
like the fact that I heard, but I was trying to be on the right side of history, and I was trying to be like, "Oh yeah, well, okay, well if these guys are saying this and my friends are, whatever, then it must be completely true."
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. I don't like you. Tell us what. So here's the thing. Yeah, I didn't like you. And talk trolling. Love it. That's great. Bilbo's finally here. Bilbo made the adventure all the way to Mordor, which is here. And so I remember... So a big part of this is...
so I want to hear all this, but guys, our video sponsor of the day, George Zaharoff, has just arrived.
Oh my God, the guy who's paying our freaking bills? Thank God. Yeah. George, I've got rent tomorrow. Just want to say, that was a 40-minute video.
Yeah.
So could you please just do that for us? Yeah, appreciate it.
So sorry to interrupt. I saw an opportunity to have.
You've got to do it. You've got to do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think that an unsung hero of this coming together is Justin. So I did a Dov Laszlo video.
George Zaharoff just paid for this live. Brilliant. Fucking brilliant.
The older jokes are like, the smoking gun.
Yeah.
It's right there. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, all of them. It's not just them. Everybody.
Shout out to Justin. That's another mutual friend.
So Indeed. Justin's like point proven, right? So me and Justin did the Dov Laszlo video. Did you see that?
Fuck me. Wow.
No, that's the the
Dov Laszlo.
Oh, and that as well. Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was thinking Gordon Ramsay. Yeah.
You know something? I was actually considering messaging him again and being like, can I you know, when I go crazy, can I say like the Enigma thing again? And I was just like, no, don't. You've done it once.
Yeah,
You can't do that again.
Well, yeah.
Do you remember when Chris? No, we won't even. When we said Chris's career. Anyway, we'll get into that. But no, like what a sport! Like what a sport for doing that and for letting me do that on the Gordon Ramsay thing. He's just such a gentleman, and really, really bought into like everything that I've ever, suggested. But anyway, I did the Dov Laszlo thing, and then I said, I did the Dov Laszlo video, and then he kind of says to me on Instagram, look, I know that you've got a problem with Ross, and
I saw that, CK. I saw your comment.
Yeah. But he actually said, look, I know that you've got a problem with Ross, and I'm going to tell you straight up that like he's my best mate. It's not true. And he's all good, and he's fine. Everything's fine. And I was like, oh, okay. But I'm sorry, and I actually dug my heels in. I said, I'm sorry, but there's no way. I've seen what I've seen. I believe that he buys views, he buys subscribers, and that's it.
And then here comes Justin Copeland, the ultimate voice of reason.
Yeah, but I still wasn't giving in. I was still being stubborn, even when Justin had a word with me. But I remember thinking that did put a seed of doubt in my head after me and Justin had that conversation. And I thought, hang on a minute, like, and there were moments where I was sitting and I was thinking to myself, like, but do you really know? Do you really know? And like, do you know how to read that kind of information? Do you even know what any of that information means? And I'm like, well, no, like, I don't really know, but I've believed this person, and that's that. And then I started to think, well, you know something, you've never really actually spoken to him. You've never heard his side of the story. But this is the thing, like, if we'd spoken, I would have probably gone into the mindset of, if you'd said, well, look, it's not true, I'd be like, yeah, well, that's exactly what somebody who is buying subscribers would say.
No, in our conversation when you first came at me, because it was through Instagram messages, you're like, well, if you're not doing it, then I hate to tell you that somebody's buying them for you then. Like, he was not backing down. He's like, no, none of what you're doing is real. Whether you did it or somebody's doing it for you, it's not real. Talk about make me feel like shit. Here, the whole community was trying to make me feel like shit for my channel growing.
Yeah. Wow. Right.
It's reality. It's what it was. Made me feel like shit for a little while there. And that's why my response to you, to let you guys know what it was, I woke the morning I hit 10,000 subscribers. I woke up to them because we have the big time difference. Yeah. It's 3:24 in the afternoon here. What time is it for you, George?
It's like 2024. It's 7:30 in the evening.
There you go. So it's after 8 in the evening for him. So he's up way before I am. So I woke up in the morning to a message from him congratulating me and telling me that it's a hollow celebration because we all know what you're doing.
Yeah, I did. I was like, it was awful, really. I'm sorry.
Immediately, that was how I started my day. And my immediate reply was not you too, George.
And you know something, 10,000 subscribers, like, if you're going to fake something, if you're going to, like, pull something off, you'd get like 100,000 or 50,000 or,
I would think,
30,000, like, in like a week, something like that. But yours is like, a month ago,
over a month, I got 5,000 is what it was that month.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you really wanted to push that,
I just did 7,000 in October.
Yeah, but if you really wanted to push that, and it was and the cheap videos was the thing that got you. I mean, I once got, I think my sort of record is 2,000, like 2,000 subscribers in a month. But that's when that was the Savage, no, not the Savage video, the Siage video.
That was the Creed, yeah. That
was the Creed
video. I forgot how you titled it. That was about Creed, though.
Yeah, it was. What was it, like the downfall of Creed and something like that? Yeah, Siage. That
it's your biggest video to date, right?
I actually, in fact, this is quite ironic. When that was launched and it was doing massive numbers, I'd never seen anything like it. When that happened, it is my biggest video. I actually remember sweating and thinking,
you don't want people to accuse you, huh?
Is somebody going to accuse me of buying subscribers? Somebody going to accuse me of buying views? And then I thought, well, hang on a minute. Isn't that like just a witch hunt? And I've actually had moments when my channel has grown because of a video I've put out or because I'm doing like more and more videos. And I've literally thought, are they gonna like accuse me? And it got to the point where at one point, I think that everybody, I mean, there are people who potentially probably do, you know, it can happen.
Sure.
It might, maybe not, but it was getting to a point where like anybody who had a fast growth, everybody was like, are they on steroids? You know what I mean? Like, are they juicing? You know, the YouTube numbers. So it got a bit scary, and it got a little bit kind of witch huntery. And then
I see you, Spencer.
I remember thinking, you know, around about the same time that me and Dan had that live stream, I was thinking about it.
Yeah, I kind of jumped in them around, guys. Like I backtracked us a bit with what I said, and what he's talking about was right around December, this past December.
Yeah, so
the stream with Smelly.
So you know something, when you came on and it was just us chatting, and it was just like all cool and everything like that.
I just took a shot because George had went visit you recently, and I just felt like it was time for one of us to make a move. It took one, and it's not about being the bigger man. It's one of us was going to have to swallow the pride and try to make the effort, whether it was you or me. And it just, I guess it worked out the way it was supposed to, basically. Because look what came from it.
I know.
We've worked people for almost a year.
I think that if we hadn't had the argument, and if we hadn't had this sort of disagreement in which, you know, I say an argument, it was a one-way street. I decided based on things that I seen, and I just decided that's it. And I didn't give you a chance to say your version of events or say anything. It was just like, that's it.
I don't think
you know, Ross is one of the bad ones. No, I wouldn't have.
Not at the time.
No, I wouldn't have. And that's fucked up, right? I mean, that's guilty until proven innocent. And on a side note,
if you look at the state of everything, I get it, though.
I was going to say that. I was going to say, like, as a society, that's where we're going anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You're guilty until proven innocent. Like, there's so many witch hunts in our culture that, like, not just about subscribers, but like everything, you know? So that sucked. And then once we had our conversation, and we didn't stop talking, really. And I think that the main thing was that we were talking about WWE.
We're such wrestling marks.
We're huge wrestling fans.
Such a common ground. You know?
Yeah. And so that was funny. Mm-hmm. And then it's quite amazing. I mean, what's crazy is that in November, George comes to the film premiere, because that's another thing. People freak out. People are like, well, George put money towards your film. Everybody did from the FragCon. Ashton did. Yeah. Renier did. Zoologist. Why can't I remember his name? Victor Wong did. Do you see me shilling Zoologist fragrances? He gave me a decent contribution. Yeah. Renier, Ashton, Victor, Chris. Of course, Chris did. Chris is in the freaking film.
So here's something that you didn't know, that George is here. He's going to have a good laugh when he hears me say this. So we had a good laugh. This was before he went to the premiere with you. And there was levels to what your gift would be for the donation, and the executive producer thing. He said, I think I'm going to give him that level donation and tell him that I want you to be the executive producer. I was dying. I said, I dare you. I dare you to do that.
But
because he wanted us to mend fences.
I know.
You know, but it's just having a good laugh. Like, how funny would that be if he's like, well, George, I'm going to give you this much donation, but instead of me, make Ross one of the
freaking Ross call. But but again, it always has to be this conspiracy of, well, George paid for the film, and now the Fragrance Express gives good reviews. Look, if that was true, I'd be having to give positive reviews for a lot of different fragrances. I'd have to be shilling Ashton's new fragrances, because Ashton was it wasn't quite executive producer level, but he gave quite a generous.
He gave it a good chunk.
He gave a really good amount. He basically paid for the soundtrack of the film. And he's credited. He's actually credited as one of the associate producers.
Yeah, I remember seeing on the poster for it.
He's not on the poster. George is on the poster. But in the credits, he's associate. In fact, I don't know if he's even in the opening titles. He might even be in the opening titles. Renier's in the opening titles, the guy who does Renier fragrances. Mm-hmm. But I guess I have to be shilling to all those guys now because
Yeah,
they
there
all
you go.
gave to my film. So it's just like crazy. But anyway, so he got one of the higher rewards, which was he got invited to the premiere, and he
Mhm.
got to be on the poster. I think that Ashton had the choice of being on the poster, but he was just like, "Nah, just give me like one of the end credits." So anyway, we're at the premiere, and he just no. In fact, it's the day before the premiere. We go out shooting a load of videos with Chris, and then in Starbucks, he just hands me that bag. He physically hands me that bag,
Mhm.
and he says, "You can have them." And I'm like, "What are these?" And I just open them, and it's the 3 Z creators with leather tobacco in it, and
Mhm.
I literally go cold because I'm like, okay, whatever. I felt as though like this is an amazing thing, but I did feel like, what am I going to do? How am I going to like? Does he want me to review them? I did go through that thought process. Well,
But
what does he
here's the
want me to
funny
do?
thing for me, hearing you
Yeah,
say this,
yeah.
is you already had rosé and tobacco, and I know you love tobacco. So it's like, I don't understand the conundrum. You know, he doesn't expect anything of you. He just, here, I want you to try them,
The Z
talk about them
creators
if you
felt
want
more
to or not,
important.
you know?
The Z creators felt more important, and it felt as though I had not just the
Makes
pressure of
sense.
one person, but the pressure of 4 people now: you,
One
Andrea,
that you hate,
Justin, and George,
you know?
and that.
Yeah. That
And I
fucking
thought,
TLTG prick.
and he's made the best fragrance. So all of that was true. I was like, I don't like Ross, but I like his the best. So what do? So I'm fucked. And
Make
I
you
did
hate me
think that.
more. Why do I
I
have to
did
like
think
this
that.
fragrance? Yeah.
And then I thought, well, I just can't review them. And I felt bad about that because I was like, you're not reviewing them because you're scared that if you do review them, people will just think, well, you're a shill. And because at that point, like people were really going in on George and everything's paid and everything's like that.
Yeah.
And so I literally chose not to review them and not to even mention them and to not even open them because I was frightened. And I remember thinking, aren't you a grown man? Why are you frightened of like what the frickin' internet says? But I was, and that was crazy. And so anyway, you and I make up, and I'm thinking, well, at least I can now maybe talk about his fragrance and whatever. And then I'm lying and I'm lying down, I'm thinking, I'm scared to review these fragrances. Why don't I make a video about that?
And so it began.
Right. Why don't I make a video about the fact that I'm frightened of reviewing these fragrances? And I thought, because that'll kind of comment on sort of what's going on, where you feel as though it is a witch hunt, where you feel as though you can't say anything. Because I know what the comment's going to be. I know one of the criticisms from the trolls are going to be with the video. Well, you made a 40-minute video about this, so that means that there's an element of truth. What the element of truth is that I was actually shitting myself thinking about reviewing these fragrances. And we are now sort of in a weird, like, there is a part of Fragcom that is a bit of a witch hunt. As I did this video, I actually learned, and as the video got released, I've actually learned that that's a smaller and smaller and smaller minority. And I blew that up in my head.
Echo chamber. Justin calls them an echo chamber.
Yeah. I mean, they're there. You can't deny that. But, and one of the big things that really interested me was, and one of the things that sort of was the main thing that I wanted to explore was, you can't convince them.
No. I could
It's
die
impossible.
tomorrow and they'll just pick someone else.
Right. I mean, that's amazing. I thought you were going to say...
No, George could go bankrupt tomorrow and I could die and they'll pick a new brand owner to pick on and a new content creator that's the biggest shill on the planet. Right. Supposedly. So
well, I thought you were going to say you could die tomorrow and they post on like saying like, oh, well.
Oh, they would make god awful posts about it.
No, they would say that George is going to pay money to resurrect him or something. I thought that's what you were
George paid for the funeral. That's the first thing.
In fact, no, he became a liability. So George hired a hitman.
Yeah. That's another way to look at it. Yeah.
Ross was about to reveal his true thoughts.
He was about to give a bad review for Zaharoff.
So Zaharoff decided to Zahar off him, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So there we go.
So
And
CK was curious about your story about Evening Mystique in your childhood friend's house. If you don't mind, briefly.
Yeah, side tangent. So that's actually true. And so one of the things that I realized as we were shooting was I was like, this is about a lot, but it's also about like friendship. And it's about like, not to get sappy, but you know, and I don't mean to sort of stereotype, but if you're in an echo chamber and you're just kind of like going on the internet and like saying George's head is fucking bigger than his body, and you know, all of George Zaharoff's reviews are bought, I don't know if you have that many friends. You know what I mean? I don't know if there's a lot of love going on in your life. I don't know if there's a lot of like social stuff going on there, because you know my brain, I'd rather have my head the size of Jupiter or Saturn than like not have the friends and the connections that I've had along the way. You know what I mean? And so that's cool. And by the way, I just want to say that my head is probably, I don't actually think that that's true, but if it is true, well, obviously, have you fucking seen my videos? It needs to be that big to have all the brain capacity,
right,
and the creative energy,
right. I gotta say, the funniest joke I've seen about it was when Corey stopped in that video. It's fucking huge, mate. Yeah. That was the funniest I've ever seen, because he stopped and he's like, no, seriously, yeah, it is.
No, it's normal. It's normal. But yeah, well, of course it is. I mean, it's the size, my brain's like the size of a planet with all the creative ideas that are going on, you know?
It was brilliant.
Yeah, so that's all cool. But I thought, okay, so this is about, there is a sort of a friendship thing going on here. And as I smelt the fragrance, I was like, well, that is weird, because it reminds me of it's like the damp sort of woody kind of smell that was from the house. I think that what had happened was, I don't think it was a new house, but I think that they just refurbished it, and there was I don't know if there'd been like some of it in water damage, and they'd had to sort that out. And so what the smell was like both like really clean new wood, but there was like a sort of a humidity in the air,
like a mugginess,
and like the sauna kind of vibe. But it was very specific. You know, it wasn't like a sauna, but it wasn't like a new house. It was or a newly refurbished house. It was somewhere in the middle. And so that is what this is. And I was like, this is kind of like that. I don't know. Like, I get the same sort of vibe as Bois de Jean. And but this is more like woodier. And I'd love to know your, like, how you came up with this and what the creative process of this, because this is not something I would like business over pleasure. That's totally you.
Yeah.
But
this is the flip side to it. This is the other side of the personality. This is a little bit more brash and out there. It's not the most daring scent in the world, but when you compare it to the first release, it's the other side of the coin is how you can look at it. It was something a little bit more evening appropriate, a little darker, a little richer, more resinous. I wanted resins this time around, smoke, incense, stuff like that. But I still wanted to stay true to the original, because you do smell business over pleasure in there. There is overlap. The DNA actually is there.
I didn't even know that. So
if you put them side by side, you'll definitely get it. But there's it's the same person with two different sides of the personality.
Well, I mean, that's interesting, because that plays into the video in a way. So, so two crazy things happen in that time period in November and December. So you and I become friends, and then no, in fact, George gives me the fragrances, and then we become friends. And then I think, okay, well, I want to make a video about the fact that I'm frightened about reviewing these fragrances. And then I imagine at first it was a really simple video. It was really straightforward. It was like, you know, me slowly having a breakdown, which is in the video, and the 3 reviews. You know, the good review, then the neutral review, and then I hate them. And it's me trying to sort of cover all angles. So that's in it. And I thought, this is just boring. This is going to get very boring, because it's just me. And I need something else. I need, like, because I'm falling into the dark. And so I thought, I need a character that's going to bring me back into the light. It can't be George, because he's the antagonist. and I thought, well, maybe it could be Chris. And I thought, no, I love Chris.
Unsung hero role, by the way. His role was great. Would you like tea? You want some tea? Like you're freaking out, George. You want a cup of tea? It was basically, I loved it. That was my favorite line. You want a tea?
So, yeah.
Yeah,
but I originally just thought, okay, so it's Chris. And I thought, but I love Chris to the ends of the earth. But we've seen Chris. You know what I mean? Chris is, and he's not exactly relevant, so I'm freaking out. And then Chris is like, come to the light. It's all going to be okay. And I was like, no, I need somebody who's involved with George and everything like that. And I'm like, there's no fucking way.
Right.
I just thought, there's no way. So do you remember me pitching this? Because I think I actually pitched this to you. I think I pitched the idea to you first.
To me first.
Because I knew that George was probably going to be
I didn't need to sell the. I got to get on board first because it's like I got to want to do it. And then we had
because if you don't not doing it, then it's not happening. It's not happening. So do you remember that? Do you remember?
Yeah, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Like, wow, I can't believe this is manifesting out of us making up. This is a brilliant idea, and it's one of those. I don't want to call it once in a lifetime opportunities, but based on the final product, it kind of is, because when something like this been done in this particular niche before. Yeah. It's basically a short film about some of the craziness that goes on off camera with what we deal with when it comes to brands and hate and trolling and just, free product and the stigmas and all of that. And then it's the right players in place. Me being kind of a subconscious guide in this particular situation, it's pure brilliance. Who better than me for that? It couldn't. Of course, it had to be me to do that, right? Because I'm the stigma. I'm the stigma for all the shit you're talking about. I get all of that heat. So,
and then I thought
it was pure brilliance, and I'm like, I have to do this.
And
then George, I called George. What do you think about this?
Yes, because I didn't want to talk to George. I wanted you to talk to George.
Yeah, I was like, he and I need to have a conversation because this is quite the adventure for us to take. Because it's kind of a both or none kind of thing, Yeah. So. And we both agreed. I mean, we marinated on it for a few days because, it's not cheap to fly halfway across the world and spend a few days. But I'll never forget George. Like, I have a vlog that I haven't put out yet of when I first meet George and Chris face to face. And because I wanted to capture that on video. And, of course, the first thing he says is, you only have 22 subscribers.
You know something, and this is true, and I'll be honest. I'll genuinely be honest. There was a small second where I saw you walking towards me, and I was like, "Is he going to freaking take a swing at me?
Fucking punch me?
He's going to freaking take a swing." And I thought, "Oh my god, that's why he's really here." And so it was a bit touch and go. And then you come over, you came in here, George and me. George was like, "Oh my god, you guys have a fire? Please turn the fire on." He's freezing all the time. He's terrified. He's freezing. Like when we weren't shooting. And he wasn't in his hotel. He was huddled up. He was this huge man huddled up to my small fire. And I remember there was one moment where it's like he was trying to figure out how to turn on the fire, but he couldn't turn it on. And I came in and it was like, Georgie, please turn on the fire. Please turn on the fire.
And he's layered in all his Valentino stuff. And
it's freezing. So that was hilarious. And then. It was crazy because every single moment we were shooting something, because if it wasn't this, you were shooting something. And Chris shot the video in Harvey Nichols, and I was frightened when that was going out because I thought, is that going to reveal that you and I?
Well, the brilliance to that, because at the time I was like, shit, I really don't want him to blow my cover that I was in Scotland,
Yeah.
But enough time, this all worked out that enough time passed that so many people forgot I was in that video.
So I'll have to just, be open and honest because I couldn't believe how long ago this was. This was February. And I came back. Yeah. I came back in March. And at the end of March, I was just like, fuck this. I don't want to be the Fragrance Apprentice anymore. Because at that point, I saw the community and I just felt like this is not what I want to do. And I really was very close to just like hitting the Millesime Imperial button. There was a lot of different factors with.
I think the day you hit the Millesime Imperial button, people are going to freak out.
Hit the
It's going to be like, he's really doing it.
He's really doing it. Yeah.
Mm.
I was nearly like this year was actually, I was a little bit too close to it because I felt as though the community was just heading to like panty dropperville, and nobody actually wanted to have like an actual conversation about fragrances anymore. And it just felt like
Chris's parody was brilliant.
Yeah, like
it was so good.
I felt as though, and especially after Milan,
because that's when I started doing all of this. Was after Milan. Yeah,
I just thought this is like, it felt as though the fragrance community had become like like a red light district of YouTube, as in people come in, just get their information. They don't want to know who you are. They don't give a shit. Just get the information. And that was when I thought, right, either I quit or I find some way to make this work. And that's when I did the big 1 hour documentary about the truth about fragrances, addiction, and attraction. And I thought, okay, well, look, why don't you just say what you're feeling? And so I made the documentary. And I said to you guys, I can't do the George Zaharoff video right now because I'm doing this other thing. And then that led to the Mugler documentary. And so behind the scenes, there was some tension because I just wasn't creatively involved. I wasn't. I wasn't there.
Frustrating. It was frustrating, trust me. But now with the timing, it's actually was for the best.
I know it couldn't have worked out better.
On all this content because I've been dealing with that all day because I put our smell and rate video out, and they're like, "What do you mean? Why EDP Intention just came out?" I put real big at the beginning of the video, filmed in February, to try to avoid some of that stuff because everything we were smelling had just released recently.
I know.
At the time,
I know, and
so
that's
guys,
my fault.
There's more content to come, and so that was the frustration for me. I actually gave George a hard time about it at one point. Like, can I just put that shit out if you're not going to do this? You know?
I deserve that. Like, I just was so out of whack with fragrance stuff, and I was going through, some shit. I was going through some personal shit, and I was just like, I'm not doing this. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not interested in this whole like fragrance thing, and then. It was, and I did sort of. I don't know if I'll let you guys down, but I'm sorry that it didn't happen quicker, and I'm sorry that it didn't happen sooner, because this did take a while.
I appreciate that, and but like I said, now that the timing worked out the way it did on Halloween, for God's sakes, you're falling into madness as the Joker with full makeup at one point in the video. Like, it really was ideal.
It couldn't have worked out better. It couldn't have worked out better in that way.
And like I said, with the Creed video, my cameo in that, like people totally forgot about that. Like everybody forgot. All worked out really for the best.
In a way, I think that if we'd done it sooner,
it was a lot more silver lining.
Yeah, it was good that it was a long time because if we'd done it sooner, there's a couple things that wouldn't have happened.
So did I join the NWO? Did you join the NWO, or did I turn face?
I think I joined the New World Order. Yeah, I'm happy to. Nah, sure. I think Ross is still a heel. I think I've always been a tweener, but now I have kind of gone.
I'm naturally going to be an anti-hero with heelish tendencies. I think is always going to be my thing. Because there's those that love me, and there's those that despise me.
Really do not like you.
I can't give you a real reason. They give you a reason, but it's not a real reason.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy. It's crazy. So we round about September and October, and I've got to actually say, like, when I opened the Patreon and Patreon gang, and I started to take seriously, like, more like the business side of this and having this as a full-time job, that's when I was like, I think that I can make this George Zaharoff video even better than I thought it was going to be. And because with Patreon and the fragrance consultations, I was able to buy like more kit, and I was able to buy like more like editing things and all like, all like usual stuff. I was able to like buy new software, all that great stuff, all that boring stuff. And then
I was like, I think I can realize how much you have to pay monthly for a lot of the software that we use, even just to do minor stuff.
I know.
Like there's 4 or 5 different things I pay monthly just when it comes to taking care of content. You know?
It allowed me to get like a. Do you use motion array? In fact, what editor do you use?
So I use Wondershare Filmora. I pay an additional $23 a month for some of the effects, even though I don't do it like heavy editing. There's certain effects that are kind of you only see on my channel because I pay for the additional stuff.
Yeah.
And then with PixArt for my thumbnails, I pay for the pro level of that every month. I use that every month. The pro level's great. And then on top of that, I have Vivacut's pro level in case I need to edit on the road on my phone. So I have the pro level of that editing software on my phone. And there's a couple others for my shorts videos where I have the highlighted words over now. I pay $10 a month for the pro level of that. Then $25 a month for what we're on right now with StreamYard. Just all these little things add up every month, you know, on top of other random shit, buying fragrances. All these, people don't really realize what goes into creating consistent content, like on a regular basis, not just a once a week kind of thing. Like you've been on a roll lately. You've been doing pretty much daily content.
Yeah, but I had to take a break. I had to take Monday. Well, I'm actually taking a break until like the middle of November because after that, because it was a mode like.
Well, you can let it build this way too.
You can let this one breathe, but not to sound sort of. Well, I don't care. It's honestly true. That was an emotional edit. Like I felt everything, and when you're doing it, I felt laughter. I felt genuine emotion when you turned up. Like when you turned up, like I was like, this is like the end of Plus All.
I was a hack.
At Lids too. Oh yeah, sure.
Like,
yeah. Don't worry, George pays for those. It's absolutely fine.
Exactly.
There we go. Yes. No way. Thank you, Luke. Luke's amazing. Luke brightens up Patreon gang so much. He's always so energetic and so happy about
Well, I guess everything. I'm gonna have.
You need more people like Luke in your life.
I guess I'm gonna have to go ahead and join Patreon gang now that you've become my 23rd subscriber, and some of your Patreon guys are over here giving super chats. You know, so I'm
join it for a month. Join it for a month, mate. Yeah. I think you'd find it a lot of fun actually. Like the Discord is freaking hilarious. I love.
Yeah, because you guys don't know, I donated to the last project, and what wasn't there something else?
You did, yeah.
I bought from here to there. But I'm talking. I don't remember the name of the last project. Yeah, George was just shocked that I would even donate to it because of our history.
Yeah, that was the Wheel of Misfortune, which was a fringe play that we did.
Yeah, because I didn't remember the name of it. No, I didn't, because I just donated.
Well, we recorded
like, hey, I don't know if you want to. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll donate.
That was so lovely. That was so lovely. No, I would love to have you on Patreon, gang. I mean, Jesus,
I'll do it. I'll join after.
Listen, if you joined it, and I put you on the Discord.
Yeah, I will.
Mate, you'd be a celebrity. That'd be fantastic. No, Patreon gang's hilarious. So we do all that, and if anybody here wants to join Patreon gang, you're all invited for £10 a month. But what can you do?
There you go.
So no, it's good. You do get a lot on the Discord. Is
I have
one of my proudest things.
Where can I find your Patreon link?
It is patreon.com/The Fragrance Apprentice. I will send it to you on Instagram now.
No, hold on. So let me go to it. There it is, and I will drop the link in the chat for anybody that would like to join.
You know what the really disappointing thing about this is, and then I'll try and sort of finish off the story. John S. is gone. Like, where is he?
It's like Beetlejuice. He'll pop up. You'll say his name a couple of times. It'll pop up. Especially since you made him a focal point in the video.
I know, but I think that he must feel a bit trapped, because if he comments anything, I'm pinning it. Well, if he comments anything, I don't care. He's going up. And if he's like,
don't tell everybody the reply, because I know.
No, but he's going up. You know,
yeah,
he's going up there. He's going to be pinned immediately. Is that like a spot OT? Yes, it is. So
Spencer is doing some heavy trolling today. Jesus, Spencer.
In fact, I want to know what Spencer thinks about this new Willy Wonka reboot that they're doing.
That's hilarious.
Have you seen that? No, seriously.
No, I haven't. I saw that they're doing it.
And they didn't get a lot of remakes, man. They didn't get Callie, I got your Instagram, but obviously,
he texted me about what he sent to you from like over a year ago. The comment.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to reply, but I'm a little bit busy right now.
Yeah, he's taking the blame for John S. Basically. Yeah.
What, Kelly? Was that you? What is it?
He's taking the blame for bringing him into FragCon. Apparently, he was the first one to get trolled and hated on in a comment.
Navitus. Yeah. Very sad to see you show support for a brand that has thoroughly corrupted the review process on YouTube, as you seem to be aware in your vague remarks. Who does this guy trust?
No one. He doesn't trust his shadow, probably.
He doesn't even trust himself.
That's what I'm saying.
But you know what? I mean, it doesn't really matter because we know that it's George anyway.
That's right. It's George.
George, stop being... No, I mean, George is releasing the new... what is it? The honey one. Well, he's too busy. Once he's sorted that all out, I'm sure he'll return to...
That's why John S. isn't saying anything.
That's why John S. is...
He's got a fragrance launch going on. That's what it is.
£10 is a cheeky Nando's, to be fair. So, like, where was I in this story? And then
we're all over the place. I'm just enjoying the conversation, man.
So, when you came over, I mean, obviously, we'll save a little bit for when all four of us are able to...
Yes.
You know,
yeah. So the four of us, I mean, I haven't talked to Chris. He's the only person I haven't talked to in the last 2 days.
He's busy though. He's like doing a lot. Like he said, I'm really sorry I won't be able to make it on Halloween. He's doing like lots of different gigs and stuff like that at the moment with the acting thing. So it's all good.
But if we could get together in the next couple of weeks to do this, that'd be great. So guys, just give you an idea. George brought up us maybe doing a 4-way Zoom and turning.
I'm thinking of doing that for Patreon gang. Actually, I am seriously thinking about doing that for Patreon gang. If that's all good,
sign up, guys. I'll keep you posted on if that ends up being what it is, so you can.
Because I think that's a valuable freaking podcast of all four of us doing that again. I've got to.
I would think it's going to be gold for anybody that likes any of the four of us. You know,
and well, if you do sign up to the Patreon, you're putting money towards like us being able to do stuff like that again. Because although it does say that George Zaharoff. Although it does say that George Zaharoff did pay for the video, in reality, it was quite cheaply done and quite well. Obviously, apart from the flights and the hotels that you stayed in, but on like it was very bootstrapped and it was very.
We made it happen with George and Chris.
Yeah, with what we basically it was just me and Chris like cobbling everything together, and I mean, like we made essentially a short film or like an episode of television with not a lot, but it was the star power in a way, and it was the shocks, and it was the surprises, and it was the story. But I remember when we're shooting, in the freaking playground. I remember thinking, Jesus Christ, this is inviting trouble with the trolls in it.
So the fun part is there's families playing around us with the kids and stuff like that. And you'll notice, if I want to give you guys a little Easter egg, when it pans around George right before it comes full 360 to get to me. When it gets behind George, you see a black and white tall blur.
That's George Zaharoff.
George Zaharoff.
When I saw that in the edit, I was like, "Oh, I saw it,"
and I was like, "That's hilarious." I wonder how many people are going to.
No way! But
he's blurred out,
How I've decided
George
to sort of
Valentino stuff. That's why it's black and white.
I've decided to do how I've decided to figure that out is that like we're in my subconscious mind, and I'm thinking about George Zaharoff a lot. So of course he's blurred out.
Of course he is.
That's how I retcon that in my head.
With that blanket from your couch that I was wearing.
Yeah, because you were like, so like, what am I wearing? And I was like, well, you have to look like Heavenly and Gandalf, and I was like, and I'm not gonna lie, right? This is great. I actually thought that George was going to bring something, but I didn't ask him to bring it. I thought, he'll just bring it, which is the dumbest thing.
Well,
ever.
The funny thing is, he does have some stuff that would have worked.
He does have stuff that looks exactly like that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, so
we just kind of made it work. That's an AEW zip-up hoodie.
It's an AEW hoodie which you wore, to impress me, which you did.
Bunched up with my jeans and my Chuck Taylors on,
and that was that. So we do that, and then even as we're shooting it, I don't know how you felt, but I was like, even as we were shooting it, I was like, I cannot believe this is fucking happening.
I was like that the entire time we were there. I couldn't believe it was happening. We went to TK Maxx. We went around down, which it rains all the time there, by the way, guys.
What did you think of Edinburgh? Because I remember how
It's
Sam
gorgeous. It's straight out of a movie.
Yeah.
It looks like it's straight out of a movie. Like it doesn't look
Yeah.
like a real city.
Yeah.
Like we're on a set. You
Yeah.
know, and it's just active. It's in motion, action.
Yeah.
Everything's going on, you know?
Because I remember you basically saying, like, Georgia, it was, look, I'm completely paraphrasing, but what you were basically saying was like, you're trying to enjoy it, but in your mind, it was just like, this is work.
Yes.
And I really respected that. You weren't treating it like it was a holiday. You were treating it like,
well, we had a mission and we had a certain number of time, number of days and amount of time that we had to film on top of making sure we got number one done, which was your film. And then on top of that, me and Chris wanted to get as much content with the three of us as we could, because it's such a rare opportunity that we wanted to gather as much as we could from it, you know?
Yeah.
Plus, on top of that, me and you had to slow down the process because we had to watch SmackDown that morning, just the two of us.
Oh, we did, didn't we? We watched freaking SmackDown.
While George and Chris were still sleeping in a little bit that one day, I took an Uber or whatever it's called there. I think it was still Uber, I think.
Yes.
Over to George's, and because of the, SmackDown had played the night before here, but it was in the morning for us to watch it with him in Edinburgh.
So you came over. You came over.
I went over, and he's in his pajamas having coffee or tea or whatever it was, and we're just talking wrestling and watching SmackDown. That was Sami Zayn's build up for Elimination Chamber.
Oh yeah. And I was thinking, God, that was a while ago, wasn't it? And like, even as we were watching SmackDown, I was like, all right, so TLT, like, okay, seriously,
it's hilarious.
Who could have predicted this like 3 months ago? TLTG is now in my flat, and we're watching Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns on SmackDown. I thought, what is going on? It's crazy. So when we shot that was great. But I loved also, I mean, my favorite thing was shooting on the, like, when we sat on the sofa, and because I got to tell sort of the story, and the smoke machine was going, that freaking smoke machine. But I think that the moment where you when I see you, you've got the angel wings, and I hold your hand and shake your hand, and then you reveal yourself. Like, when I was editing that, I was like, this is probably going to be one of the craziest fucking moments in the history of this fragrance community.
Because nobody could expect that.
Nobody expected it.
One human on the planet. There's like, what, around 5,000 views? Not one of the 5,000 that have seen it so far could tell me they were expecting that.
I don't even think that Dan knew that was coming. I don't know if Dan's watched it. I'm surprised he hasn't done 5 freaking live streams about it yet. But like, it was so unexpected, and it was so great. And editing it was very emotional, and like, when it was done, and I'm not even afraid to say this, like, I didn't cry, but I felt really emotional that it was over, because I was like, that's in the books now. That's it. Like, it's done. It will like, and that's it. It's over. And I was like, sad that it was over. I was excited for people to see it. There was a lot that I really felt emotional when it was done, and I would love to know how you felt when you saw it. Like, because you saw the first third of it. I showed you
13 minutes, yeah,
and up to your reveal. But what was your feeling when you saw it?
So, to give you guys some context, the morning before he put it out yesterday, we sat on the phone and clicked play at the same time to the unlisted link for the first 13 minutes, which to the point of us shaking hands and then cutting to his face, like the oh shit look on his face. And so we watched to that point. And it's just so many funny moments. Like, any of you that have gotten to know George and know his mannerisms and his humor and everything, I don't know about you guys, but there's so many funny points leading up, like him insulting the audience's intelligence when he's doing the myself review, and he's like, intelligently like this, and because you're not any of that, and he's sitting at the table. All these things are just hilarious, dry humor to me.
Yeah.
So leading up to it, and I can't help but the hate watching me, fuck you, and all that stuff. That's all great. So when you see that, if there was ever a chance that you thought that I could be in there, that would turn you away quickly. It's like,
I knew that I had to introduce immediately that
you hate me.
that I didn't like you, because I thought for people who don't know what this is, I need to still, you know, I need for people who have no idea what this is, for them to understand what's going on. And so that's why I did that.
So it was very hysterical, funny,
Yeah.
for me, you know, because it's I guess it's different for me being just a part of it versus the visionary behind the idea and then the execution of the filming and the editing. Because that's the thing. George and Chris manifested the filming side of it, but the idea and then the editing and presentation, that's all George.
Yeah.
You know, so it's mainly George, then Chris secondary, and then me and George Zaharoff are just kind of there doing our part. You know, we're just helping to bring the vision to life by taking part, basically. It's kind of wild, because I think back to behind the scenes of all this stuff filming and the takes and stuff like that, of like you falling back on the ground when they open the door and all those different things. Because you got to remember, guys, I'm there for all of that stuff, and like we're all there watching it over the shoulder kind of thing. Or like the video that Chris did with George in the conference room at the hotel.
You were there.
We're there for that. Nobody knows we're on the other side. You're filming it.
Yeah.
You're the cameraman for it. It's just little things like that that nobody knows about outside of us until we bring it to light. That may not sound like anything, but when you're in the moment, it's special.
It was a special weekend. It was a special
It's a
weekend.
very special time, because we were there for 2 nights, 3 days.
Yeah. Was that it? It felt like a week. Like, not in a bad way. It felt like we got a week's work done. Like,
we did a lot in a little bit of time.
That was crazy. You know, somebody said to me, somebody messaged me and was like, "Oh my God, like, you got to do another one. You know, do another one, and this time you can have Justin and everything like that." And I'm like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
The story has to fit. Yeah. Because people were expecting, like when Chris turned up, everybody's like, "Who's going to turn up next?" And I'm like, it's not the Avengers. It's appropriate for Chris to turn up.
Yeah,
in that moment, story-wise,
relationship that you guys have. Of course, he's
absolutely
showing up to visit. You know,
absolutely. So I have no idea what happens next, but all I know is that
I won't work with him. He won't pay me. That's one of my favorite lines. I won't work with him. He refuses to pay me.
My favorite bit, because a lot of that was improvised, because it was getting late at that time. It was getting really late when we shot the final bit, and one of my like as I was watching it, I was like, I should probably be editing this down. But I really like what George was saying. I wanted to keep him in it as much as possible, because he, you know, he's the focal point of the video and he needs to have his say. But there were just a lot of good things, like when Chris is like, "I've never seen somebody, you know, with that bigger muscles, trying." And I can't even.
He'll love to hear it. He'll have a great workout. You know?
I forgot that I actually said, "Wait, are we talking about me?" And then both of them just go, "No."
I
was like, "That's hilarious."
I have a gym membership. That was great. That was all just off the cuff stuff too.
Yeah.
None of that was planned. We didn't talk about it before they pressed record or anything.
We just said, "Look, let's just
went with it."
That was when time was getting like really thin, and like you guys had a flight in like 7 hours.
Yeah, we
were like, shit, we haven't even filmed the bit where the
long ass flight too, connecting flights. Because some of you saw my little shorts videos where I had layovers in Frankfurt. I did 1 Million Royal, it had just released, and Boss Bottle Parfum, which George hates. Made a whole video about it. Stop the hype.
Well, oh right, no, sorry, Parfum. Yes, I thought you were talking about Elixir.
No,
I don't hate Elixir. No, so there's too many.
Yeah, I actually like the Parfum, but it's kind of a useless release because it doesn't smell like Boss Bottled. It's not Boss number 6 anywhere in the DNA to me. But that's neither here nor there. From here to there, you see that.
Well, let's talk about very quickly. I mean, I'm still like, it's the impact of the video. Like my Instagram is still like, to me, this is done so much better than I ever thought it would, and I'll explain my reasoning for that. To me, it's been one of the big, well, I'd say it's probably the most successful video for me of the year, for a couple reasons. Because you could look at it and go, it's only got like 5,000 views. It's not really a lot, but it's not a top 10 video. Well, it's at a decent pace. It's hit 5,000 in essentially 24 hours. And for a video that is not top 10 fucker right in the pussy fragrances,
Or your top 10 perfect fragrances. That one
Not
blew up recently.
Yeah, that did insane. Hey, when that started blowing up, I was like, oh my god, everybody's gonna think I bought for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, still,
You got to get out of your head for that stuff,
it's
man.
crazy. It's
Pray for
terrifying.
that success. I hope this video does 1 million views and let people talk. Who cares?
I don't know if that's gonna happen, but it's not a
Probably
top
not,
10.
but I'm hoping for it. You know,
To me, if it got 30,000 views, in my mind, that is 1 million. We've hit 1 million because it's all about context. It's not a top 10. You know, show us your leg styling.
This is one that's going to build over time, though.
Yeah,
this will always consistently get some views every day.
Exactly, and that's fine. No top 10, no new release, not a video about clones, not a video about Creed, not a video about Aventus. It's some weird 40-minute video about George Zaharoff and Fragcom, the inner workings of the fragrance community. And so when I edited it, I actually thought to myself, you have put everything into this. I love it. It's not going to get 2,000. It might, if it gets 2,000 views, like at all, I consider that to be quite a success because I thought there's nothing there's nothing about it that is. People just want their recommendations. People want to know what fragrances get them laid, and this is none of that. It's none of the stereotypical stuff that gets you views. But yet, it's got 5,000 views in 24 hours.
Well over 100 comments.
Well over 100 comments. The attention rate is insane, and I feel like every half an hour somebody's tagging me on Instagram about it.
That's what I'm saying. It's just going to continue to build over time. I have live stream replays that catch fire 6 months after they came out. Just you never know because they'll find the right segment.
No, you didn't buy those views, did you? You're sure, right?
Of course not. It's hilarious to me when I hear stuff like buying subscribers, buying views. Like, how could I? Okay, let's call it what it is. Wait, I don't go.
Are we actually going to hear your side of the story now?
Yeah, I don't go work anywhere. Okay,
no.
You guys see me buy fragrances and hats all the time.
Yeah.
Where do you think that money comes from, guys? I'm sure if you buy
Zaharoff?
fake stats that you don't make money off of the fake stats. I would
No, you don't. That would be impossible.
I would think it's bottomless. It's for show. It's fluff, right? I do well enough to support my household comfortably and buy these extracurricular things because of my YouTube channel and affiliate marketing, so it's not like I'm on everybody's payroll like people think. I'm on no one's payroll. This is all just time and effort I put into with my viewers trusting my opinions and stuff and coming back, basically maybe buying a fragrance through an affiliate link. So it's hilarious. That's why I got tired. I'm no longer I haven't been offended by that stuff in a long time. I literally laugh at people when they bring it up now. It's like you're crazy to think that at this point, It's
crazy because you've just said all that and it will never be enough for some people.
And that's fine.
It will never be enough. And that's the point at the end of the video, isn't it? It's like, but when you first get hit with stuff like that, I could imagine this just like it freaks you out. And I was seriously, as a grown bloke, scared of, well, if I review these fragrances and talk about these fragrances, then something like what's going to happen to my reputation, this and that and the other. But it's like, look, you can't do anything. You can't do anything, and what that video is really about, in a way, or should I say, one of the unexpected outcomes is that I've had a couple reviewers message me and say thank you. I don't know if anybody's done that with you, but it's like thank you for saying, because like one of them's Elizabeth, I think.
I've talked to her,
yeah, and she was like, yeah, thank you for saying what needed to be said, because I think that there's a lot of smaller reviewers and a lot of reviewers in general who feel as though they're frightened to talk about George Zaharoff fragrances, or they're frightened to talk about, I'm not the biggest
target.
I'm not the biggest Navitus fan in the world, and I do have my reservations with them. But if you want to talk about Navitus, that's cool. If you want to talk about, I don't know, even Fragrance One or whatever, I thought The Office was fine. I thought it was actually quite good. Yeah, but like, the point is that you shouldn't be frightened to say, to do what you're supposed to be doing, which is just talk about fragrances. But there are people
if you aim to please, and my apologies, I'm interrupting you actually. If just briefly, if you aim to please everyone, you please no one.
Right.
The old saying. You can't please everyone, so don't try to.
Yeah. You know, Andre, if I was you guys, I let people call me all the names under the sun and assume whatever they liked. If my channel was growing and my hard work was paying off, ignore the haters. I mean, Andre, where were you before I decided to make a 40-minute fucking video to basically just say all that? You could have saved me a lot of fucking time, mate.
Right? I wouldn't have had to fly halfway across the world.
Andre, come on.
I mean,
Andre, where were you in November? I could have just written a Twitter post rather than doing a freaking 40-minute
Instagram story and be done with it. You know?
Saga length shit.
Yeah.
No, Andre, I love that, and I love your profile photo, like, because that's just like half. It's like somebody said that half a pint in. It's like he said that half a pint in. It's like half a pint in. It's like, well, actually.
Fun fact: George Atkinson was so nervous yesterday. He had a couple of sips of a adult beverage while the premiere was happening. Yeah, because he didn't know how you guys were going to react to this.
I was terrified. Yeah. I was terrified because a part of me was
it's a risk. You know, that was a risk.
And this is what I want to say when we're all together. But like the main, like halfway through editing it, I thought, did these guys make the right? I mean, you and George, and especially George, obviously, have basically entrusted me with a large part of the reputation of the Zaharoff brand on YouTube. Like George showed it to his business partner Antonia, because she was like love Antonia, but like that is where this was going. Like that's the level where he's having to show his business partner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was crazy. Oh, yeah. It was crazy and amazing. Well, look, I will have to go relatively soon because I'm catching a flight in. I'm like you. I'm catching a flight in about 6 hours.
Where are you heading?
We're heading to the south of England to visit my partner's.
You did tell me that. You told me that.
Yeah.
My apologies. Well, now everybody else knows.
Yeah.
So that's perfect because we've done an hour and 17 minutes at this point. I typically don't do super long streams anyway. I think this was just right, perfect amount of time. Is there anything you'd like to leave everybody with?
I think that I'm proud of what we did. I'm proud that it has done what it's done so far. And I reiterate to you what I said to you when I was 2 whiskeys in and I was about, you know, the video was about to go out, which I said, look, no matter what happens, this has been a fucking honor.
Indeed.
And that's how I feel.
And I'm real quick. Let's have a good laugh before I do my sign off. Smelly 199. Does School of Synth? You would have to ask Omar. That I don't know. I don't take it from someone that's been accused for years about that. I don't accuse others because I know that doesn't feel good. So I don't accuse anyone of that kind of stuff.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, you know, I think that it can happen. It can happen, but it was one of those things where, you know, one person was back in the day, a few years ago, one person was like really seriously accused, and you know all about that, and the shit went down.
Yeah, he averages like 6,000 views and has like 200,000+ subscribers.
Yeah, and that was all kind of really weird. But I think that because the idea was that this was a thing that could happen, and this was a thing that could actually happen in the fragrance community. There's anybody watch Star Trek Next Generation? I know this is a crazy way of closing it, right? Right. So there's an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation called The Drumhead. And it's about, in fact, it kind of inspired George Zaharoff, paid for this video a little bit. What happens is on the ship, somebody sabotages the ship, the warp core, and they find him. He's a Klingon. And then like an admiral comes in and she's assigned to investigate this. Anyway, that's resolved at the very beginning of the episode, but slowly this admiral starts to think that there's a huge conspiracy going on the ship, on the Enterprise, to the point where it becomes so massive that, like, near the end of the episode, she basically thinks that everybody's in on it. But she's kind of going crazy.
Okay.
And Captain Picard basically calls her out. And it's a classic witch hunting kind of story. And that's what happened here. I'm actually surprised in some ways that, like, at one point, like that, there wasn't one person. Well, I guess John S. is that guy in a way. And I think it'll be funny now that there's a kind of that we've introduced conspiracy against him, that he's actually secretly George Zaharoff. And I wonder how he's going to take that, because that's a complete like Uno reverse card.
Yeah, basically an Uno reverse card. Yeah,
right,
for sure.
And of course, there's no proof.
No,
but there's no proof of anything that he says either. So, you know, like, I wonder what that'll feel like. But the main point is that I'm surprised in some ways that there isn't like this one guy, and maybe there is this one guy who's like, everybody's buying subscribers, everybody's actually being bought, because people can
there's a bunch of people that feel that way. Oh yeah.
And it can't just be that we're actually just like normal people. We have to be this sort of, they are putting us on a pedestal, but like this really unhealthy, like negative pedestal, and like they don't actually just see that we're just regular blokes. In fact, no, it can't just be that. It's either, well, they're shills or whatever, or they're really, really freaking ugly and disproportionately built and this kind of thing. It can't just be that we're just normal, average people. There's something about us, something special, whether it be we're evil, we're shills, we're unattractive, we're ugly, we're fat, we're too thin.
My favorite is being called a liar.
Or being a liar. There's got to be something.
That one's fun.
Yeah.
I'm
you're a liar. It's crazy. It's crazy. And look, yeah.
I just find the good in most with fragrances, so naturally I'm just lying. That's what.
Well, you like designers, mate. You like designers.
I love designers. I'm more of a designer guy than anything else. Yeah.
I'm less nice than you, but I think I'm still reasonable. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I'm unreasonable. Like,
well, you were respected until you made this video. Now you're just a piece of shit shill who's crossed over the dark side. No, I'm sure that's what's being said.
Thank God.
Right.
Thank God.
You've now made it for real. For real.
I know. Did you see that bit where I was talking about tobacco?
Yes.
On one of the videos. Did you
that's the one with Burlington 1819. Tobacco is your number one.
Yeah. Did you hear what I said? Something along the lines of, one of the main reasons why I've picked this, apart from the fact that I want to buy a new boat this year.
Yeah, I did. And I saw in your post, it was like, this is another boat payment when you made the post about the video before it came out.
Yeah. Another boat. Yeah. Every time I do a review, I'd be like, this is another boat payment.
Yeah.
I would actually genuinely like a boat. Actually, I would like a.
I would assume you wouldn't be saying that if you didn't want a boat.
No, I want a canal boat. Oh my goodness! Look at that. I just want to say, like, RXL Freedom Fragrance. Is that an account where he's trolling like what it's like to be a troll? Is that like a satire of, or is he just genuinely a troll?
Rick's having fun. I know Rick. I've gotten to know Rick. Yeah. Rick's actually a pretty good dude. Like, Rick's the reason me and Dan don't talk anymore. He's like,
really?
Oh, he's disgusting. You're not allowed on my channel anymore if you're going to be friends with him. That's what happened.
Oh, really?
That's exactly what happened. Yeah. Yeah, I had to explain this yesterday. Like, I get asked about me and Dan all the time. It's like, I don't hate Dan. It's fine. I hope Dan's. That's why we were cracking jokes about Dan and how he streamed earlier. I like Dan. I understand he won't take a certain stance. I'm not going to pick sides, and nobody's going to tell me who I can be friends with. So, okay.
I mean,
how it is. Look, I don't agree with everything RXL says and does. He knows that. I've had to say this a bunch of times. I definitely do not. But I'm not going to be like, oh, you bad, go away. No.
I think that's quite funny. Freedom Fragrance, and it's the United States flag. I'm down with that. That's funny. That's amazing.
Rick's hilarious. Shout outs to Mikey. I smell. I know you put your stamp of approval on him a long time.
I love him. He's great. Yeah. He's absolutely great. No, he really is good.
Hobbit has a big ass. Jesus, Rick.
Do I really?
I don't think it's as big as people like to. I think they've inflated, and that's kind of a funny pun. That's kind of a funny pun. It just kind of happened. That wasn't planned. They inflate how big it is just to like take shots. You know, like it's like I still get called fat all the time, and I'm not.
You know what I think? Actually, another thing, and I'll just be like straight because I get that comment, and there are kind of three things to that.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing is, so what if like it is?
It's people just look.
What
Rick's
like
just having fun, and if
like,
you get
like
offended,
so what if it is?
he wins.
So what if it is? It's all like people are allowed to have. But the number two, I don't actually think that. In fact, when I go to the gym and I look at myself, I have actually thought to myself, it's like inverse. I actually think that my head is actually quite small. My body's like not in like a muscular way, but I've always
seen
thought that
you
I've
in
had a small
person,
head.
and it's actually pretty proportioned. It's
thank
like
God.
when I brought up Corey saying it in that video.
It's normal.
Y'all did that just because that's the thing the trolls say about you. You know. So
and the third thing is, if I'm really honest about it, I think it's because my face is actually often kind of bloated because of water retention.
Well, it's the cheeks.
It's
got to be the cheeks.
It is the cheeks. I mean, if they went, and that's my doing. But at the same time,
it's times when they're not fluff. Like right now, they got a little bit of fluff to them. But I've seen you where they're in more, and you got the beard going and stuff. So it's like a fluctuation thing. And I guess whenever they see a little puff to the cheeks, they run with it. That's all I can come up with. Yeah.
Oh, well, who cares?
Yeah,
and again, it's probably because of the fact that, like, I mean, what? So I've got a giant head, you've got tits, and
I don't, though. I don't anymore.
You don't anymore.
They hate that too. Yeah, they hate that too. It's like why can't you?
Oh my God.
So
whatever you did for whatever you did for your whatever you like took for your pecs, could you just inject it into my face?
You would want the opposite.
Oh, right. Okay.
Inject something into it. You would want me to take something
out. Oh, no, I'd want to take something out of it. I like the Frank Sweats, but even right now, his head looks Photoshop.
See, he's just entertaining himself. He doesn't actually like dislike you or anything. He's just fucking around. That's how Rick is.
Oh my God.
People take him way too literal and way too serious.
No, I think I get that, actually.
I don't mean
I do
you.
think
I
get it.
People in general take him way too literal.
No, I think I get it. I actually kind of find that quite funny. It is funny. I think that there's nothing wrong with also like just a little bit of humbling. You know what I mean? A little bit of humbling. I think that it is a little bit healthy to like, because, you know, sometimes you read stuff about yourself and you're like, fuck. But sometimes a little bit of cheeky humbling. I mean, I literally get called like a freaking creative genius, like every now and then. Like people will just be like, oh my God, like your videos are crazy and amazing and genius and stuff like that.
Shit. Yeah.
So maybe like for every like 10 of those, maybe just one, oh, his head's too fucking big for his body.
Look, I'm all for
just to keep everything proportionate, unlike myself, just to keep everything level playing field, you know?
Yeah, because see, I'm all for the ball busting and the cracking jokes, but I don't like doing that with complete strangers. That's my thing. I'm not going to take you. I can't take you serious. And why do you think it's okay to do this with me, stranger? You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do that with you. Whereas like Rick, I've gotten to know Rick. We can talk shit to each other. You and I, we can talk.
Oh yeah, you and I could talk.
Half the chat, I've gotten to know them. I bust their balls in my streams all the time. They give it. How
does it feel? How does it feel to be how does it feel to be the same fucking height as me?
I'm a little taller than you. Don't you go lying.
Shut up.
Don't you go lying.
Shut the fuck. Yeah, with those shoes that you're wearing, I'm taller than you. I swear I am. I swear. No, yeah, I am. No, listen, mate. I'm at least 4'9". You're like 4'8".
I'm 5'7", Dick. Come on now.
I think Christ. I am like. I remember actually like when I went to hospital a couple of years ago, and they were like, "You're 5'6". I was like,
"Really?
That's good, right?" And they just looked at me and they were like, "Well, you know, okay."
Does it make you feel good? Yeah.
They said your head's at least 6'5", so at least there's that.
Mm-hmm. There you go. So
Right.
on that
This has
note,
been amazing, hasn't it? This has been amazing.
I think this is a good spot. We're about to hit
Yeah, yeah.
literally right now, as I
Well, yeah,
said, hour and a
right.
half.
That's it. Yeah.
Perfect time. George, thank you so much for doing
Oh
this.
no,
I
it's been
still can't
amazing.
believe we did this.
It's fantastic. Fantastic. No, I
Anybody
appreciate it.
here that has not seen George Zaharoff paid for this video, or
Or
did
did he?
you are missing out. Look, is it the greatest thing since sliced bread? No, but in this
Yes.
community, yes, it
Yeah.
definitely is in this community. I have no qualms saying that. It's very unique for our little niche, and it's brilliant. The idea was brilliant. The satire to it, the serious drama to it, it was so well executed. Bravo, George. Thank you for the friendship. Thank you for having me and hosting me in Edinburgh, and thank you for coming on the channel.
Invited anytime, and hope to see you in Florida.
Absolutely, yes. Let me know when you're coming, and we will meet up. We will definitely meet up.
All right.
So, everybody, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for the super chats. Make sure to check out George's Patreon for some exclusive content. Link is in the chat. In fact, I think I still have it copied. We'll go ahead and paste it one more time. Here we go, just in case for anybody that would like to join George's Patreon. Thank you, Spencer, for all the gifted memberships. I saw you, unsung hero of the live chat. I saw you doing that. And definitely check out, like I said, George's video. And then if you want to see us just talking regular old fragrance, you can check out my video today with me, George, and Chris. So everybody have a great rest of your day and a great start to the end of the week. Have a good one, guys.